Hey kids, it's Mr. Verdi here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take you through, I'm going to make three different videos. Oh, I'm going to start my timer too so I don't go longer than 10 minutes, okay? But what we're going to do is muscle time with Hans and Franz, okay? We've talked a little about muscle. We talked about big concepts of muscle, about how they contract and naming them, right? A little bit of training them. But what we're going to focus on this is one of the tougher subjects in anatomy and physiology, I think, and I didn't want you to go to college without doing some of this because it's definitely doable. Okay, kids? So here's my explanation a little bit on muscle contraction. So there's three parts to this, okay? We're going to compare and contrast different types of muscle tissue, describe function and characteristics, and then we'll get to the sliding filament theory, which is where we're going to earn our meats and potatoes. Okay, so there you go, just said that. There's some test questions on there, oh yeah, definitely some test questions on there that will send your way, okay? But here we go, three muscle types. Okay, what we're going to focus on is skeletal muscle. Okay, here's Arnold in his heyday, right before he was the governor of California, and and then there's cardiac. So that's skeletal muscle, right? That's the stuff we study, and we're going to keep studying. Cardiac muscle, right? Well, obviously, remember Pete was a little disappointing as far as the skeletal muscle goes, right? We thought maybe a little more abdominals for the bachelor, okay? But cardiac muscle is the muscle found in your heart. All right, smooth muscle. If you remember this guy, the most interesting man in the world, he was smooth. But smooth muscle is the muscle you study when we study the digestive system, what we find in the esophagus, stomach, and stuff like that. Okay, so those are three major types of muscles. Just a real quick drive-by explanation of the differences of each and maybe similarities. Skeletal muscle, it attaches to bone. When you think muscle, you think skeletal muscle. It's striated, which means all that means is if we look under a microscope, it looks striped. Kind of cool. Okay? It's voluntary. It's the only muscle you can control, right? And now you can raise your heart rate. Just think, I don't know, cops. Watch cops in the afternoon, your heart rate will go up. All right? Skeletal muscle's powerful, like that oiled, hairless man. Okay? So, cardiac muscle is another type of muscle tissue. It's only found in the heart, cardiac meaning heart. It's striated just like skeletal muscle, but it's involuntary. So we don't have overt control of it, though your brain can affect your heart rate. You don't have, what's the word I'm thinking of? Conscious control. There you go. Okay. Last type of muscle is smooth muscle. Okay. It's in the walls of hollow organs. It's not striated. All right. It's involuntary. So and by not being striated, it suggests it's less organized. Okay, well, all it does is it kind of decreases its power potential because it's got muscle myofibrils in all 360 degrees of direction. Okay, so special characteristics of muscle tissue. It's excitable. All right, excitable means it can be triggered to do something. Right. I don't know if I told this class, but it was on some other PowerPoint I listed, but Janelle from Teen Mom 2, she was behind me on an airplane one time, and she was excitable. She got all angry at somebody because they took her picture, and she lost it, much like she does on MTV. All right? What's weird about muscle, all right, this is special characteristics. What's weird about muscle is it can contract. It's the only tissue that has the ability to shorten. So you excite muscle, it shortens. That's its deal. A lot of kids think stretchable and elasticity are the same thing. They're not. Muscle tissue is stretchable. Okay, other tissues might be stretchable, I suppose. I don't know. But elasticity suggests it can go back to its original resting length. Cool. So we stretch our tricep, and we relax it. I just did the opposite. Okay. Muscle functions. Okay. Well, you can look at my pictures first, right? But movement, I think we know that, right? Muscle moves things, whether it's bones or fluid. Okay. Cardiac muscle moves fluid, smooth muscle moves fluid, even skeletal muscle help squish some fluid around, right? Maintaining posture and body position. How are you sitting right now? Are your shoulders slunched? Are you hunched over? Or are you really engaging the core as you sit up straight? Okay, stabilizing joints, maintaining posture. Then also heat generation, okay? So muscles attached to bone two ways, directly, all right, when this outer layer of muscle fuses right to the membrane of the bone, or indirectly, which is the most common way. This is the number one way, indirect connection of muscle to bone is through tendons. Okay, so ligaments connect bone to bone, tendons connect muscle to bone. For those of you guys that are trying to keep the difference straight, here's just a picture of different tendons. Right, there's a tendon connecting muscle to bone, tendon, muscle to bone. Right, there you go. Great. Okay, my sister grew up in the day and age of Jim Tan Laundry, and these are the people from Jersey Shore. You guys might have been 7, but they were very influential in how my sister lives her life today. Right? Actually, this guy kind of looks a little bit like my brother-in-law. That's weird. Okay, so anyways, skeletal muscle. Each muscle, all right, is served by an artery, a nerve, and one or more veins. Okay, so it's important to realize that skeletal muscle tissue is made of muscle tissue. It's made of vascular tissue. It's made of nervous tissue. Okay, all kinds of things. So what you're seeing, this is a cool little picture. I love this picture. It's a nerve, right, with little endings innervating individual. Well, these would be muscle fibers. Okay, we'll talk about that. So what is muscle? Okay, what is a muscle? Okay, well, as far as skeletal muscle goes, it's made of tons, hundreds to thousands of muscle fibers. Fiber is an interesting, fun way of saying muscle cell. Okay, a cell is the bourgeoisie way. I think I did a Russian accent there now. I think it's a French word. Bourgeoisie. Bourgeois? I don't know. Muscle cell is one way to say muscle fiber. But when we say fiber from now on, we're gonna be talking about a muscle cell. Okay? You can read all the PowerPoints, but just moving along. So muscle fibers are wrapped by connective tissue. Okay, so here's the deal. As we look, we're going to talk about fibers a lot. Like we're going to spend our life in here. Okay, but let's think about this. Muscles. We can compare these things to the makirashki, Russian dolls. I don't know if I said that right or not, but muscles are made of fascicles. Okay, we're going to explain what a fascicle is. Okay, I promise. Fascicles are made of lots and lots and lots of fibers. Deal. So it's this organization of muscle tissue that we should pay attention to. Those muscle fibers are made of lots and lots and lots and lots of things called myofibrils. And lastly, myofibrils made of lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of myofilaments. Right? So now it's not the Russian doll thing breaks down because inside of this Russian doll, there's this one. Right? Inside of this one, there's that one. The reason I say it breaks down is because muscles are made of maybe 10 to hundreds of fascicles. So there'd be tens or hundreds of these inside this greater organization called a muscle. Okay, and then each fascicle is like a bundle of fibers. Let's take a look. Oh, that's right. We'll do connective tissue sheaths of skeletal muscle. Don't spend too much time on this one, guys. I'm not going to either. You just keep it straight. Okay, the epimysium covers the entire muscle. Perimysium covers fascicles, and the endomysium is a connective tissue that covers each muscle fiber. So each of these is actually grouped, is separated by a connective tissue surrounding. Okay, so here's the picture, better picture of it. This whole deal is called the muscle, right? Well, we just said the muscle is surrounded by the epimysium. Okay, do you remember? So if we look at each of these things, and I wish you could see me pointing, but I'll just use my mouse. Here's a fascicle, here's a fascicle, here's a fascicle. These fascicles accumulating together, fascicles make up one muscle. Well, if we pull out a fascicle, here's one, take this fascicle, it's wrapped by perimysium. Okay, well, what's a fascicle made of, right? Fibers. So this fascicle is a bundle of fiber. All of these are muscle fibers. When I get to my muscle fiber, I start to see that, oh, it's made of myofibrils. See this little thing on my mouse is that way, one myofibril, another myofibril, another myofibril. That's the organization of muscle tissue. Okay, I compare it. Let's go gum shopping at Costco. That is not Mrs. Verdi. That's a random person from a Google image search. Okay, you can think about like if this individual piece of gum were a muscle fiber, it'd be one little muscle cell surrounded by the thinnest little membrane that surrounds these things called the endomysium. Okay, well, now let's say one piece of gum is wrapped like this. Well, 12 pieces of gum gets wrapped in a slightly sturdier membrane. Here would be the perimysium. Cool. So here's your muscle fiber. That's one. Put a bunch of them together and you get a fascicle. Fascicle would be like the one pack of gum. Fascicles are bundled in the muscle. So if I get 64 of these things, I put in this big, huge cardboard box, that would be your muscle, which is made of, hundreds, but in this case, 24 little packs of Dentine ice. Nothing's cooler than ice. Okay, dentine ice is made of 12, or whatever, an individual muscle fibers. So that's the analogy we're going to use. Okay, I'm going to stop right there because it's been 10 minutes. I think that might be my limit for YouTube right now until I get more followers. See you guys. Have a great day. More to come.